Hi friends, welcome to our channel. Today we will discuss the concept of applications of priority queues. Generally, priority queues are used in system design. There are mainly two problems for which the priority queues are applied. So the two problems are, one is the selection problem, and the second one is event simulation. Okay, first we will discuss the selection problem. Here, what is the problem? We have a list of n elements. Suppose we have a list of n elements and I am giving an integer k such that we have to find the kth largest element. Or depending on situation, we have to find the kth smallest element. So whatever it is, if you are using max priority queue, you are finding the kth largest element. If you are finding min priority queue, we are finding the kth smallest element. Among these n integers, we have to find the kth largest element. Okay, in this we are following two approaches. To find the kth largest element, we are following two approaches. So what is the first approach? The first approach is simply read n elements into the array and sort them. Simple approach. Read n elements into the array and sort them. Suppose if you are sorted in either ascending order, descending order. Suppose depending on your choice. Simply we know the position. For example, if you are sorted in descending order, where is the first largest element? The first largest element is at index 0. The second largest element is at index 1. Suppose if you are the kth largest element is at index k minus 1. That is, if all the elements are in sorted order, all the elements are placed in decreasing order of their values. It is simply to find the kth largest element. If all the elements are in sorted order, it is easy to find the kth largest element. Okay, so another approach. Move to second approach. Generally, this is not the preferable one. So another approach is, instead of reading n elements, we are reading only k elements. Read k elements into the array. And perform sort operation. For example, assume the k elements are some 7, 9, 5, 4. After reading, what we are doing? I am performing some sorting operation. 9, 7, 5, 4. For example, my k is equal to 4. What we are doing? Whenever a new element comes, that new element is compared with the last position, because already the elements are in this order. What is the fourth largest element? If k is equal to 4, the fourth largest element is always at this position. Whenever a new element comes, that new element is compared with this last position. For example, if our new element is some 3, 4 and 3. 4 is greater than 3. So no need to place the new element into the list. For example, if our new element is 6. Our element is compared with this position. If our element is greater than this position, replace 9, 7, 5, 6. After that, our element is compared with remaining k minus 1 elements to place in proper order. Then 9, 7, 6, 5. See, observe the difference. Between first and second approach. In the first approach, we are reading n elements and sort them. To find the particular position, we are simply written the corresponding index value. But in this position, instead of sorting all the n elements, I am sorting only k elements. The kth largest element as at this position. Whenever a new element occurs, compare that new element with this last index. If it violates the property, swap this element and compare with remaining k minus 1 elements. So compare these two. Here what is the time complexity? We have n elements and we have to perform n sorted operations. So the time complexity is big O of n square. But here inserting only n k elements. Among n elements we have inserted only k elements. So observe the time complexity big O of n square is reduced to big O of n into k if k is smaller than n. Suppose if the same concept is represented in algorithm format, the same concept is represented in some better manner. Suppose algorithm 1. So to find this algorithm, either kth largest element, I already said that if you are using max priority queue, that is the kth largest element. If you are using minimum, that is the minimum priority element. So the same concept is implemented in terms of heaps. So the first algorithm is, so algorithm 1 means the first approach. Read all n elements and then apply build heap algorithm. After reading all the elements, apply build heap algorithm. Okay, that is a heap is constructed. Then what is the highest largest element? The first largest element is at the root. After deleting the first largest element, obviously the second largest element at the root. So to find the kth largest element, perform delete min operation for k times. So delete min operation is performed k times to find the kth largest element. So now calculate the time complexity. If you have n elements, the worst case complexity for constructing all the n elements is big O of n. Big O of n is for construction of heap. Then what we are doing after construction of the heap? We have to delete an element. So whenever deleting an element, that element is replaced with the last element. The time complexity is big O of log n. So this is for build heap. You have n elements. For build heap, it requires big O of n. For deleting an element, it requires big O of log n. Now, how many number of deletion operations we have to perform? To find kth largest element, we have to perform k into log n. So the total time complexity is big O of n plus k into log n. See, here n is for construction, log n is for deletion. To find the kth largest element, we have to apply k deletion operations. Okay, depending on the value of k. Suppose this is our assumption. If k is equal to big O of n by log n, then automatically the running time is big O of n. So this value is smaller. So automatically you already know in big O notation, big O of m plus n. Suppose n square plus n. What is the time complexity? Big O of n square. So if largest smallest occurs, no need to represent the smallest, only represents the largest, that is the maximum value. Okay, suppose if k is equal to n by 2, simply the time complexity is big O of n into log n. So depending on the value of k, here the time complexity changes. Suppose if the k value is very large, then simply big O of k into log n. Because if k value is large means this value is smaller than this value. That value. This is algorithm 1 for first procedure. Now move to algorithm 2. So in this algorithm, the concept is same. But instead of n elements insertion, we are construct the heap by using k elements. After construction, whenever a new element comes, that new element is compared with that element. The new element is compared with the kth largest element. The kth largest element. Suppose assume the kth largest element is some notation sk. Okay, sk is, if you are using max priority queue, it is maximum element. If you are using minimum priority queue, that is the smallest element. If the new element is smaller, if the new element is larger or smaller, if the new, depending on the new element, we are replaces sk. Depending on that, we are replaces sk. Okay, apply the same procedure. So same procedure here. The assume the time complexities. We have kn elements. For building, it requires big O of k. We already discussed. We have n elements. For instruction of build heap, it requires big O of n, but we have only big O of k. Okay, and to process each element, we require the time complexity of big O of 1 only. Big O of 1 only. That is, pick one element and compare that element. Pick one element, compare that element with the last position element. Okay, now remember, if we want to perform swap operation, that is after comparison, if our element is larger than the previous element, we have to place that element. So big O of log k. Why? Because observe this one. If you want to place that element, after placing, we have to compare that element with the remaining k elements also. That element with the remaining k elements also. So the total complexity is big O of log k. Big O of log k. Okay. So what is the total time? Total time is equal to big O of k plus, so n minus k, because we are not using total n elements, we are using only k elements. N minus k into log k. N minus k into log k. That is simply, ignore this term, big O of n into log k. Big O of n into log k. This is the time complexity. This is the time complexity for the first example. That is the first application, the selection problem. The selection problem. Next we will move to the second one. That is event simulation. Event simulation. So in this, consider an example. Consider bank example. In this bank example, mainly two persons. One is customers, second one is tellers. Teller means the person in the bank who provides service to the customers. Okay, who provide service to the customers. Generally based on customer arrival time and departure time. Customer arrival time and customer departure time, we are using a probability distribution. Suppose, what is our question? Our simulation is how long on average a customer has to wait. Observe the point. Here the event simulation is very simple topic and it is very important and previously asked in many times. How long a customer has to wait, or how long the line might be. Suppose whenever a customer comes, all the customers are placed in a queue line. How long the customer has to wait on the queue line? Okay, with the based on these probability distributions, and probability distribution on the arrival of customer. For example, if time 10 to 11, we have 20 customers arrived. For example, time 1 to 2, we have only 3 customers arrived. For example, time 3 to 4, we have some 25 customers arrived. Based on this time, that is based on this probability distribution and the number of tellers, assume k number of tellers. For example, if you have a total of 100 customers and 100 tellers, so no problem. So there is no problem, but the wastage of 100 teller service time. So we have to find the value of k also. That is, for which value of k the application goes in a smooth manner. The application goes in a smooth manner. Okay, see this one. Now this is simulation. Okay, you understand the question. The question is customers enters into the bank, tellers provide service to the customers. We have k number of tellers and how long the customer has to wait based on the probability distribution and the number of tellers we are estimating. We have two events. In this example, we are considering two events. One event is customer arriving. One event is customer arriving. Second event is customer departing. Customer departing means the teller provides service to this customer. Thus, whenever teller provides service to the customer, he has to departure. Okay. Now I am maintaining a pair of arrival time and service time of each customer. To calculate probability distribution, I am maintaining arrival time and service time. Arrival time and service time for each customer. For each customer. And I am using a quantum unit called tick. Okay, so remember we have two events, customer arriving, customer departing, and the pair of events, that is all the input stream consists of pair of arrival time and service time of each customer, and generally these are sorted based on arrival time. And to measure the exact time, I am using a quantum unit tick, because at one location, suppose in Andhra Pradesh the time is 10:30, suppose in some other Los Angeles the time is some 7:50. So from state to state the time is changed. So for that purpose I am using a time quantum tick. So here tick means in Andhra Pradesh the tick is one value, in some other country the tick is another value. Okay, now what I am doing? Initially start the tick at 0. Initially we are using the simulation clock. The simulation clock starts at 0 ticks. We advance the tick at a time. If there is an event, that is we have two events, either customer arrival or customer departure. If there is an event occurs, the tick value is incremented by 1. Okay, when there are no customers, for example there are no customers in the line and all the tellers are free. When we stop the procedure, we have no customer and all tellers are free. Then the simulation is completed. But remember, so first point, here also two approaches. The first approach is initially I am setting my simulation clock to 0 ticks. Whenever an event occurs, if there is an event, increment the tick value. If there are no customers and all the tellers are free, the simulation is completed. Here the problem with this simulation is, here we have a problem. The problem with this simulation is the running time. Does not depend on, remember this is very very important, the running time does not depends on number of customers or events. Number of customers or events means, suppose if a customer performs two events, customer arriving and customer departing, here only depends on, instead it's only depends on ticks. But this tick is not an input. That is, our simulation has to be mainly depends on events, these customer events. But we are incrementing the tick value. We are incrementing the tick value. So what is the solution? See this one. The problem is here the running time. The time does not depends on the number of customers or events. It depends only on the ticks. So the solution is to advance the tick or advance the clock to the next event. Advance the clock to the next event at each stage. That is, the meaning is, whenever a customer arrives or one of the customer leaves. That means instead of every second I am incrementing the tick value. But to overcome that problem, I am not increment the tick value for every second. I am incrementing the tick value only based on the number of customers. Whenever a customer arrives, I am incrementing the tick value. Whenever a customer departures, I am incrementing the tick value. That means based on these events, we are identifying the number of ticks. We are calculating the number of ticks. Suppose if the event is a departure, what we are processing? The processing includes the statistics of departure customer and check the line if there is another customer is waiting or not. Okay, at the time of departure, check whether any customer present in the line or not. If there is no customer, stop the procedure. If any customer, and add that customer to the line, and advance the tick value. Here the concept is, if you have C number of customers, how many events occur? One customer arrival and departure. So 2 into C events occurs. C number of customers, 2 into C events occurs. And how many tellers? We have K tellers. Then what is the running time of simulation? The running time of simulation is big O of C into, for one customer, log of K plus 1. Why it is log of K plus 1? Each event, suppose to process each event, it takes big O of log H. Suppose H is equal to K plus 1. That means whenever K number of tellers, a teller can solve the solution of the one customer. So each event takes big O of log H time. Here H is equal to K plus 1. What is the H? Simply H is the size of the heap. Okay, this is event simulation. So event simulation is somewhat difficult. Okay, question is how long the customer has to wait. We are identified based on the number of tellers. So 2 events. I am using a tick value, advance a tick value for every minute, for every event. But to overcome this problem, I am incrementing the tick value only whenever a customer arrival or a customer departure. Next we will discuss the binomial queue. Thank you.